Welcome to East Meets West. You know him as the host of the podcast talking politics and religion without killing each other. And the second most important man to hail from Freehold, New Jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Corey Nathan.
And he is the seven-time Emmy-winning broadcast journalist, born and raised in beautiful Los Angeles, Rick Garcia. Rick, I'm wondering if we said that I was from Manalapan, would we say that I'm the most important coming out of Manalapan?
Probably.
Yeah,
would that be fair? Would that be fair? Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, it's the next town over. Well, no, because I mean there are so many more important people coming out of Manalapan. It's the next town over, and technically that's where I'm from. It needs to be said. And there are so many wonderful. But Bruce's grandfather, where he gets the originator of Bruce.
Yeah,
he's actually Englishtown, Manalapan are basically the same town. So that's really my town. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Small town.
Small town. Hometown. My hometown.
Hometown?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Listen, if you're from that part of that neck of the woods, maybe there's some excitement that you have in terms of how the East is showing up against the West. The Lakers and Pistons had a nice battle. I'm getting really excited, by the way, as we get close to the playoffs. I haven't been this excited for the Lakers probably years, right? There's something that's a little more real about them. Now, these down the stretch games, like when the Lakers played the Knicks, and any time that the East teams are playing anybody or the West teams are playing anybody that's significant, they're important and they're not important. They're important because you want your team to play well down the stretch and you want to see what the competition is like. Where it's less important is you have to remember when they start playing each other, these series are long, right? It's just not one and you're done. So the Pistons snapped the Lakers' 9-game winning streak and in a great battle. Really, really good game. It was a good opportunity for me to kind of really focus on Detroit for a moment. And I got to tell you, I love that defense they have over there. I mean, they really gave the Lakers some fits at times. What do you think?
Yeah. No, Detroit is one of the best teams in the league for sure. And to your point, with East Coast fans, I graduated high school at the time that the Bad Boys were winning their championships.
Yep, I covered them.
Yeah, great teams, historic teams, and were the predecessor to Michael Jordan's Bulls, so we all remember that. And now they're again one of the best teams in the league. I take your point about the Lakers. I would take from this not the fact that they lost by 3 points, but if anything, it gave me more confidence in the Lakers. The fact that they were able to come back from 16 down in the third quarter, make a real run, take it to the last few seconds, and more importantly, to your point about a long series, I saw some guys really embracing their roles. LeBron is still a centerpiece, but a centerpiece in a very different way. His presence down low along with DA, his ability to still make a difference in transition, setting up Luka, setting up Austin Reeves, and still having some guys coming off the, playing solid roles like Luke Kennard in that winning streak, hitting some clutch shots, and in this game too. Well, like I said, if anything, this loss following up a 9-game winning streak just gave me more confidence in their ability to make a real impact in the playoffs.
They're playing well. They're playing better defense. You're right. LeBron's role. I love seeing him down low with that big body. He can get rebounds. Luka's also good at getting rebounds. That's what the Lakers need on the boards. It's funny though. You watch LeBron now when he gets the ball, he's wide open and he's still passing.
Yeah.
So now it's time for him to start shooting a little more. I think I'm okay with that again. So they got to find that balance, and they are. But, Detroit, I couldn't even tell you who's on the team. Danis Jenkins scored 30 points in this game. It reminds me a little bit of Oklahoma City, where, it's this team they've just done a great job of cultivating some young talent. You know who the superstars are on the Lakers, right?
Absolutely.
You know who the superstars are on the Knicks.
Yeah.
I mean, Detroit, interesting.
I love the fact that this is the era that we're in. And in a way, Golden State entered us into this era of team-oriented ball. Sure, we know Steph Curry. Sure, we know the Splash Brothers. Sure, they've won, 4 championships. So, of course, we know some of the names on Golden State.
Yeah.
But Golden State introduced us, and Stevie Kerr reintroduced us to real team-oriented ball.
Yeah.
Same to your point about Detroit. I couldn't name the guys on Detroit's roster. Just like last year, I couldn't name OKC. We're getting to know them, but I love this era of NBA basketball. One thing I will say about the Lakers, one area of concern, JJ Redick in the press conference after this game with Detroit talked about Hachimura, and he seemed to be saying that, with him not being able to play, that was one of the reasons they came up just short. Listen, the most important ability is availability. So I want to, once you hit the playoffs, I want to see everybody playing hurt if they have to, but I don't want to hear any excuses going forward.
No, I agree with that, and that's where the Lakers are lacking, is their depth. Their bench is, other than Kennard, they've got a couple of guys coming off the bench, that are okay.
Yeah.
But they go about 4 deep in when it comes to the subs. They don't go much further than 4 or 5 players.
Oh, man.
I don't know if you can survive a 7-game series or even a 5-game series with that kind of roster.
That was the Knicks' Achilles heel. One of the reasons why I think they didn't go to the finals last year is because they went maybe 3 deep. And that's also arguably one of the reasons they switched out coaches this year. The Knicks, for what it's worth, is they have a much deeper bench this year. So I'm excited to see them see if they're able to take that last leap and get into the finals.
They have a shot at the number 2 seed. The Lakers are going to land somewhere between 3, 4, and 5.
I think they're solid in 3. I think the Lakers are solid in 3 at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
They keep playing the way they're playing, they're going to be solid. But then again, that sets up a second-round matchup against San Antonio. Realistically, that's going to be fun to watch.
Listen, I'm still leaning toward the West when it comes to the NBA Finals again. I mean, it's a tough conference. You ready to move on to the Lakers and Knicks of the future?
I should wait. Let me back up for a second.
Yeah,
I should
please.
give you crap.
Please.
Of course, you see the West because you're a homer. You're
That's
a West
not true,
homer.
though. That is absolute. I am not an apologist for
I know,
any
you're
team.
Just being objective. As a West homer.
Oklahoma City and San Antonio really. And by the way, I have to tell you again, watching Detroit in that game against the Lakers, I feel like there's something there. They've got that OKC thing about
above
them.
average.
So
They're
we'll
above
see.
average.
They're above average. Okay. Listen, let's move. Speaking of above average, I think this is probably one of the more in focus NCAA tournaments that we've seen in a while. All the top teams are still around. We go to the Sweet 16. And as you go through the different brackets in the East, Duke is still there. I think they're the team to beat. Though St. John's, St. John's could give them a battle.
To that game, baby. That's going to be a good game.
UCLA gave UConn a run for their money without UCLA's best player in that game. UConn did survive. They still look really good. I think they'll beat Michigan State in their next game. Do you want me to keep going through this, or do you want to comment?
If you want. I mean, I watched a few games really closely, and you already named the 2 teams that I watched the most closely, St. John's and Duke. But let's hear what some of your analysis, and I'll jump in.
I think more the top seeds this year. It's a little more accurate case in terms of sometimes you get some pretenders up there, and I'll give you an example. Florida was a number 1 seed in the South. They've been defeated. Nebraska looks decent. They're going to play Iowa in their next game. Illinois and Houston. I think Houston is the other good team coming out of the east side of the bracket, out of that side of the bracket that I think is a team to look out for. On the other side, I still think Michigan's the best. I think Arizona is a little bit of a question mark. Purdue is just okay. I would love to see, when it's all said and done, I think Michigan and Duke is your best game. I think that's what everybody wants to see.
Oh, that'll be interesting. I haven't gone that far ahead, but let me just answer a couple of questions here.
Uh-huh.
Number 1, Florida going down to Iowa. I mean, who had Iowa versus Nebraska in that bracket going to the Sweet 16?
Yep.
But Florida, it was a close game. Duke had a couple of close games, at least in the first half of their second game.
Yep. That's true.
Arizona, to your point, they better be ready for Coach Cal. They better be ready for Arkansas because what we're seeing is these Hall of Fame level coaches really know what the heck they're doing.
Yep.
But
and by the way, and now they can pay the players legally.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
So they don't have to be feel insecure about anything as they go into there, feel bad about anything. Yeah.
But let me tell you about
Yes.
the couple teams that I watch real closely. So
Okay.
Duke's first two rounds. First round versus Siena was too close for comfort, I'll tell you that.
Yep.
But Duke's number one, they're great coaching, suffocating D. They found a way to win. And Caden Boozer emerged. They were missing their starting point guard, and not Cam Boozer, Caden Boozer emerged in that first game to give them the win.
What a bloodline there, yeah.
Did you watch that second game?
I did not see the second game.
One. So
No.
Cam Boozer was basically silenced in the first half of that second game, but they adjusted during halftime, and he ended up with his 20 and 10 that he always ends up with 4 or 5 assists. This kid is ready for the NBA.
Yeah.
But what that second game told me is he can be corralled at least for a half. But what it also told me is I am really looking forward to this matchup against St. John's, because one of the other best players in this tournament left is Zuby Ejiofor with St. John's. And that is going to be one heck of a matchup. Not just Zuby and Cam Boozer, two of the best players left in the tournament, but the two Hall of Fame coach. Well, okay, so John, the Duke's coach, he's not Coach K, but he's well on his way. He's starting a good resume here. But of course, Pitino. There's a lot that I like about St. John's too. Before we move on, I got to tell you, if you get a chance to watch St. John's, there's a kid on the floor that if Rick Pitino suited up, put his sneakers on, who's on the floor, it would be Dylan Darling. I love watching this kid play. He's in that last shot, that last drive, and that game-winning shot against Kansas. Oh boy, that was something else.
I'm with you. This Duke team, unlike the ones under Krzyzewski, under Shire, they can be up and down sometimes. And I when we had our last conversation, when we did our last show together, I mentioned that down the stretch, we just talked about the NBA. When you get to those games down the stretch, are you hitting your stride at the right time? Duke had some up and down performances in those last couple of games. So you're right. They're going to have a game all the way. Krzyzewski would have them ready, I think, for this battle. I'm not as sure. And when you got the kind of talent they have, the Boozer boys, I mean, look, their dad, Carlos, was a beast in the NBA.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
Well, to your point, I mean, if you want to watch what separates what I've noticed when you're watching the best coaches, the best coached teams, there's something about that stretch between 8 minutes and 3 minutes in both halves of college ball that the best teams, the best coached teams, that's where they create some separation. That's why I was worried in that first game, because we didn't see them separate. We didn't see Duke separate from Siena in that critical time period. Now, we started to see it in the second game, and we certainly saw it in the second half of the second game. But St. John's too, with Pitino, watch that period just for kicks. Watch that stretch between 8 minutes and 3 minutes, and that's where the best coach teams really start to pull away.
Yeah, well, it's starting to play out the way I think it should. I think we're seeing the cream of the crop advancing, and this is where it's going to get to be a really fun ride in March Madness. You ready for some flag football?
Oh, baby, am I ready? Let's go. I pulled a hammy just thinking about it.
I couldn't, right? Watching 48-year-old Tom Brady. It was the first ever Fanatics Flag Football Classic. Flag football, we all remember playing it when we were kids. It was a lot of fun. It was a great way to play football and not get hurt. But when I'm trying to figure out how I want to put this. I enjoyed watching Brady hit Stephon Diggs, avoid a rush, hit Stephon Diggs with a pinpoint accurate pass. A beautiful thing, right? Yeah. And I thought, maybe I could get into this flag football thing when the Olympics roll around, right?
Yeah.
And the girls are playing it now. It's getting real popular among girls in schools. But then you watch the rest of the game.
Yeah.
It's flag football. It's just what we played in high school. I don't care how good these guys are. I'm just not sure. I'll root for the U.S. in the Olympics. I always do. But I don't know if I'm there yet. How are you sold yet on flag football?
I could be. But
what's it going to take?
You can't watch it for the same reasons that you watch NFL or college football.
Yeah.
Watch it. It's a different sport. So and it requires different training. That's why you saw some of the best players in the NFL that played in these games. That's why you didn't necessarily see them dominating the game. It's a different game. It requires more. I don't even
Sure.
know if this is a word, but elusivity,
Yeah.
but certainly
Right.
even more agility.
Yeah. A bit.
As opposed,
Yeah.
in addition to the traditional skills like speed and precision with the throwing, I mean, a lot of the NFL guys are built up 300 plus pounds and the hard hitting.
Sure.
So the NFL plays a different game than what we're going to see here. So
True.
similar to if you're watching, similar to what we were saying before about a team-oriented game in the NBA, it's just a different game. It's 5-on-5, not 11 on 11. So if anything, if we get it, first of all, if it's the right time period, like that the dead of summer where there's no sports being played, I'll watch.
Are you
these
that
games.
desperate?
Yeah,
Here's
yeah,
the thing,
I'll watch
though.
these games.
All right, let me put it to you this way, because I'll watch it during the Olympics. So just imagine for a moment, Jackson Dart wants to play flag football, wants to play in the Olympics.
You know what I'm going to say.
Are you okay? Are you okay with that now?
Absolutely not.
Cam Scattaboo?
No,
Cam, you want to go
absolutely
play
not.
some flag football?
If
Devontae Adams, who had a horrible hamstring for half the season. These guys, their whole season can be wiped out with one injury in flag football.
Because because there are obviously similarities. There, it's football, but it's such a different game and what's required of these guys. And I feel the same way about this as I do about the WPC, about the Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
I'm a New York Football Giants fan when it comes to football. So if my guys go off and play a scrimmage,
Sure.
and or an exhibition, and it ruins their season, I'm pissed.
Of course. And here's the thing. It seems to me, and I don't have the science to back it. I'm sure there is science to back this up. Most of the injuries are non-contact in the NFL. So many of them, these guys just stepped the wrong way, or turf somehow caused the injury. Yes, some of them are caused due to hits.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of my wide receiver and my quarterback. I don't want them blowing out their knees or tearing up their shoulder on a throw.
Or an oblique. I mean, just like avoiding
It's
with the
so
oblique.
easy, right? And,
Yeah.
and in the NFL, unlike baseball, if you're out 2 months, nobody's going to notice,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
In the NFL, that's it, man. Season's over, especially if it's the quarterback, right?
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
do you think they protect the quarterback so much in the NFL? It's the most important part of the game. It just is.
I don't
Nobody
know.
wants
Could
to
you-
watch a team with. Go
Could
ahead.
you put a red overshirt on the QBs or the NFL players?
Maybe. I don't say you have to go that far, but do you want to see Tommy DeVito leading your team next season? Come on.
I want to see Tommy DeVito for my Italian dinner. That's what I want to see Tommy DeVito for, not in a Giants
Hey,
game.
just bring the sauce, Tommy. Oh man. Hey, this stuff with Jack Hughes. I don't know if you've been following this. I only did because, he scored. He's the huge hero, the New Jersey Devils player in the Olympics for the USA. Scores the golden goal, the game-winning goal. The Hall of Fame takes his puck. they're going to take it right to the Hall of Fame. Jack wants his puck back. And it's and they did the same thing to Megan Keller of the U.S. women's team as well. And I had to do some research on this because I couldn't remember what the rules are for this. So most of the Hall of Fames, they'll reach out to the players and they'll say, "Hey, can we have that baseball, that basketball, that football, that puck?" Whereas hockey said, "Hey, this is ours." And players in the NFL can turn it down. They can say, "No, I want the ball. I want to keep the ball." Although that doesn't make sense to me. Gosh, wouldn't you rather go to the Hall of Fame to admire your work? I mean, right? If your work is in the Hall of Fame, it's one thing if you get your 2,000th hit as opposed to the 4,000th hit. Yeah, you'll have those wonderful mementos. Poor little Jackie can't get his puck.
So
What are your thoughts on this?
bottom line is he should get it, and here's why. So first, the argument for. In terms of the Hall of Fame, it is the Hockey Hall of Fame, not the NHL Hall of Fame. So I get the reasoning behind why they have, I don't know, they claimed it and they assumed it. But also, at the end of the day, the puck itself is the Olympics property. It's not like Jack brought his puck, and they said, "Hey, Jack Hughes, give me your." It would be the equivalent of them saying, "Give me your skates" or "Give me your shoulder pad." Like, no, that equipment is his. I'm assuming the puck is what the Olympics brought to it. So in a way, it's theirs. That said, he donated his time. It's not like they paid him millions and millions of dollars to show
Those
up.
are two good points.
And it was his goal at the very least. That's what the bottom line is for me. He should get the damn puck. It's similar to the whole name, image, likeness thing.
Yeah.
The debate with college athletes. That's why I think at the very least he showed up and donated his time. He was there as a volunteer essentially. At the very least, he should get the damn puck.
Well, like you, let me give you my pros and cons, because I agree with both sides of what you're saying.
Yeah.
And for me, the both sides are, you scored the goal, Jack, but this is bigger than you, right? This is the U.S. winning the gold medal in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And you should be proud and honored to hand that off to the Hall of Fame. You've got plenty of trophies, on your shelf from your days of youth hockey on up through currently with the Devils. This is the biggest of all of them, and I think it just shows your respect for the sport of hockey more than anything else. Now, I do know with the teams, I do remember covering teams in Los Angeles. They had designated guys. Their job was to go get that ball, out of center field, or to find that football, and very often what the league will do, they'll exchange the football, because if it's a game-winning, maybe a record-setting field goal, well, that's going to get caught in the net. But let's just say a football winds up in the stands somehow, or a baseball winds up in the stands. Baseball will try to swap out something with the fan, to make them feel better. Baseball, they negotiate. As you know, the fans negotiate. I don't like that either. I don't know if you ever remember that Raymond episode where Frank Barone winds up catching this game-winning field goal at a college game, and he won't give up the football. And it just embarrasses his son, who's a sports writer. I kind of feel the same way with the fans. Give up the ball, man.
As long as you
give
don't
up the ball.
As long as you don't grab the ball out of some, 6-year-old girl's hands.
Which we know happens, right?
We know happens. Well, I'll tell you this. The best argument that Jack Hughes made was Jim Hughes, his dad. He said, it's not even for me. It's their dad. They have 3 NHLers, and their dad has been keeping the goals and keeping records and so the best argument Jack made was that it wasn't so much for him as it was for dad. But I'll turn that argument back around on him. I'm kind of convincing myself of the other side of the argument, and that is it should be shared with the world.
Yes.
So when it does go to the Hall of Fame, it means that me and my kids can go to the Hall of Fame someday and enjoy this moment and see a piece of history that way.
Exactly my point. And same thing, if my son were to honor me, with such an item like that, I would say, son, let's send it to the Hall of Fame, and you and I will make regular trips to go visit it, on a regular basis. So, I'm with you on that. But by the same token, I also feel that way about fans who want to turn around and auction it off or sell it. I just think that's bogus as well. They have a right to do that. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But I just kind of feel like, don't you have more respect, for the game than that? And I guess the answer would be no in their case.
It depends. I got a price.
You do have a price. Okay. Good
I can be bought.
Oh, you got it. I'm with you on that one. All right, you ready to pop that culture?
Let's pop that culture.
Pop that culture.
Listen, this is a story. Okay, so where's the sports thread in this one? The passing of a celebrity who also happened to be a great athlete. He was a U.S. national karate champion, Chuck Norris, who passed away recently. It was shocking because he had sent out some video after his recent birthday. Chuck was in his 80s, and you see him, doing some sparring with a guy. It was wild in Hawaii. And then a couple of days later, he gets rushed to the hospital for we still aren't certain what the cause of death is. But next thing you know, he's gone. He was 86 years old when he posted that first video. I didn't watch Texas Walker, but I loved the movies, and Chuck Norris came on the scene, and in a movie with Bruce Lee back in the 70s when those karates, the 60s and 70s, those karate movies were so big. And let me just tell you my own personal experience about Chuck Norris. When he came back from doing those movies, Chuck Norris decided, I'm going to try to bring some of this flavor that Lee had, where they had great kicks. They were known for their kicks, the Asian fighters. And he said, well, I'd like to kind of marry that to a lot of the boxing we do in the United States. And so he came up with his own style. It was called Tang Soo Do.
Okay.
And opened some studios in California. And so when I was in college, me and my best friend, we went to college, and down the street was a Chuck Norris studio.
Wow.
In Sherman Oaks, California.
How about that?
And so we took some karate there for a little while, and we were athletes. We thought we were, because we were football players and baseball players, that karate is going to come easily. And not a chance. It was so much harder than we thought. Now we were
really?
physical. We were physical guys. Well, anytime you introduce the legs into it, you're punching. Some people that comes naturally. Some people kicking comes naturally. But then you put the two together. It was a lot of fun. We met Chuck Norris during those days. He would come in now and then come into the dojo and bow to us all, and we would get a chance to chat with him a little bit. Fast forward a year or two later. I'm covering sports in Las Vegas, Nevada, and they had an off-road race called the Mint 400, and they would do this little celebrity race to kind of promote their off-road race. And so they would invite local media, and they would team them up with some celebrities. And some of them were B celebrities, some of them were people you'd never heard of. Parker Stevenson was one of the drivers. Chuck Norris was one of the. So my partner happened to be Chuck Norris. They teamed me up with Chuck.
Oh, wow.
By the way, I will tell you this, just as a person, the Chuck Norris, the person, one of the nicest people I'd ever been around.
That's great.
He always called himself, he considered himself, he was very shy, and the fact that he wound up being in film, he was kind of encouraged by directors of movies. You should consider, because he would mostly be in the background in fighting scenes. And so he kind of did it reluctantly, but as nice as they come, but very competitive. We're in this race, and they put you in these like Nissan pickup trucks or Toyota pickup trucks, and you're on a trail that's as wide as the tires, and you're going over rocks and over hills and through deep sand, and it's a course of a mile or two, and you're belted in, strapped in. It's like being in a baby seat, a car seat. I'm not kidding you. It's in so tight. We come up on a truck in front of us, the celebrity racers in front of us, and they flipped their car. It flipped over. It was like sideways. And so we stopped. I said, Chuck, should we go help them? Because they're kind of waving us over, trying to get us. And it's a race. This is a race. He goes, nah, and just slaps my knee to gas it. We go right around them and finish the race. It was just a moment I thought I'd like to share about Chuck Norris, and who as we know, wasn't just very successful as an actor. No matter what you thought of his ability, his shows were winners and were on film for a long time. And he was a politically active guy too, which I know, depending on what side you're on, it either rubbed you the wrong way or you loved him even more for that. I just wanted to share what he was like as a person. One of the sweetest, kindest guys who could have, pulled my heart out of my chest and showed it to me before I passed. He had that kind of ability.
Yeah. That's great. I saw the announcement of his death, and I thought, 86 is right at that point where you're thinking pretty good run, and to your point, he posted just a few days before his death on his 86th birthday, looked to be in good health and still pretty fit. So his actual death came pretty suddenly. In a way, we all got to go. That's one of the few guarantees in life, right? Is that we all got to go at some point. So if the guy's active to into his very last days and just goes suddenly, and that's not a bad way to go. So had quite the career. Started off as an athlete. I do consider martial artists to be athletes more so than curlers. No disrespect, Wisconsin. But if you're going to make me choose the athlete, people who practice martial arts, they're certainly athletes. He was a great athlete who was one of those who made that transition into Hollywood as a celebrity, and did it
was very, very successful, had a good career, good life, and and again, shocking only because you see him still punching some dude.
Yeah,
at the
and
age
you
of
don't
86,
think of him as
and then he's
86
gone.
years old.
No,
I mean,
I didn't at all. That isn't that weird? It kind of goes to show you how old we're getting, right?
yeah. No, that just you.
Only me. You're a lot younger. That's
I
true.
am a lot younger.
Well, this was a lot of fun, man. I hope everybody else enjoyed it as much as you and I did. We made us laugh anyway.
It was fun for me.
I'm Rick Garcia. He's Corey Nathan. It's East meets West. Thank you so much for joining us.
Don't forget to follow us, rate us, review us, do all the things, and tell a friend. Let everyone know you can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you get your favorite podcast. This is fun, Rick.
A lot of fun. We'll see you next time.
Baby got